Yo, still been with the Denzel, man. Been a minute since I tapped back in with y'all, man. So we gonna chop it up while I go and get this grub for the fan band. But peep game though, man. I'm gonna talk about Issac Cruz and goddamn Ryan Garcia, right? Like, I don't see what the like. People are torn on the situation because they're making it seem as if Issac Cruz was coming off as a diva because he was able to go the distance with Gervonta Davis. I don't think that's the case, honestly, man. Like, it's hard to. It's honestly, well, how Oscar moves funny style. He moves funny style, man. So you got to be able to kind of take the good with the bad and saturate the bullshit from the real shit. And come up with your own ideologies. I don't think anybody is wrong in this scenario as to how as it pertains to how they feel about it, because there's some people who feel like Issac Cruz is playing this diva role because he's only known for going 12 with Gervonta Davis and nothing outside of that. But I honestly think it's a little bit more complex than that, man. What he was, from what I'm gathering that he was saying, was the time that I'm putting into training and prepping for a fight with Ryan Garcia, this dude has a track record in his last 2 fights of pulling out of a fight. It's easier, or it's real easy to disregard somebody's injury that's afflicting them when they have a track record of pulling out of fights. So nobody was going to be sympathetic towards him for having his hand broken when he was supposed to fight Jojo Diaz, when just the fight before that he pulled out of a Javier Fortuna fight. Nobody's about to be sympathetic towards that. Nobody. And we shouldn't be, because he just, a lot of the shit that, like, I've considered myself a fan of Ryan Garcia. I love his backstory. I think it's dope when a fighter is fully polished and developed as other fighters is in a place where he can pull the upset on the more polished fighters. Because let's be honest, he beat Luke Campbell in better fashion than Devin Haney beat Jorge Linares. He beat Luke Campbell in better fashion than Teofimo beat Lomachenko. And he just got completely schooled by fucking George Kambosos. So he's right in that gray area where it's like he's not too far off to consider him a legitimate threat to Devin Haney, to George Kambosos, to Teofimo Lopez, and not Ryan Garcia, but I always thought he was a little bit. I thought he would have early on. There was a point in time I thought he would have knocked out Gervonta Davis. I'm not so sure of that right now, but he's not too far off. Yet he's not as polished as them neither. He's not too far off. So I've always respected this. I respect anybody who's getting bullied at a point in time to, they're no longer in a position where you can bully them. I'm always going to respect that. Like, yeah, nigga, like, come try that shit again. I got bullied in my life, but that shit was my fault. And then, it lasted for about a year. But then me and him, man, like, that's my nigga to this day. That's my nigga. But he was Devoing me because of the shit that I was doing. Like, I was on some sucker shit. And he came up out of that when I showed some sort of heart, like, you're not finna knock me off. He knocked me off my feet, bro, with a devious hook. A devious hook. And that, I remember having to walk through that embarrassment, go to school. Nigga, what happened to your jaw? I gotta go to church. Nigga, you look at your jaw, nigga, got beat up. All that shit. Like, I'll fuck you up for saying that shit, but I can't say nothing, it happened. It is what it is. So I remember going through that embarrassment, and when he thought he was just finna do, nigga, square up with us. All right, cool. I can't beat this nigga, but you're not finna do that shit to me again, bro. And at that moment, that's where me and his the dynamics shifted. Like, all right, cool. I ain't gonna fuck with you no more, because you showing some sort of heart, as opposed to back then when you was on some instigating buster shit, you was in the wrong, and you knew you wasn't gonna bust a grape in a fruit fight. So I respected that. I respected that. I respect it more so now as a grown-ass man. So anybody who's in a position of where they was getting bullied and they're like they had a place in their life now where it's like, you're not going to be able to do that shit to me again, I respect that. Straight up and down. So his backstory is dope to me. But the diva antics is just something that I can't get jiggy with, man. All the extra out, the IG shit. You know, you contemplate retirement at age 26 like you ain't already 24 years old. Just little goofy shit, man. You had an opportunity to fight for a world title, but you better line that shit up with fucking Tank Davis, and Tank Davis ain't got no strap. Every time Devin Haney comes off of a good performance, you got something to say about him when you could have just went in there and proved what it is that you were saying a long time ago, and you could possibly be a champion. You know, he's more into the IG shit, you dig? Like, if it don't make sense on IG, it don't make sense in real life. I can't fuck with that shit. But I respect his backstory, and in this regard, it's like, you know, y'all had to take that into consideration. He do be on some buster shit. And I'm not too... I'm not on his side as it pertains to what's going on with him and Issac Cruz. Maybe I'm getting half of the story. But I see nothing wrong with Issac Cruz wanting that stipulation put in. Yo, if he backs out, I still get a percentage of the purse that I was entitled to. I see nothing wrong with that, especially considering that he has a track record of doing that. You got to think, man, when a nigga back out of a fight, you could be your attention can be diverted elsewhere. You could be prepping for somebody else. Your attention could be going somewhere else instead of just talking up this big fight just to get let down a week before the fight, the day of the fight. Nah, man, I don't see anything wrong with what he, you know, with that shit. I don't see anything wrong with what he did or what he's saying. I think it's logical. I think it's very logical for somebody to be like, nah, your track record, you have to take people's history into consideration. And it so happens that he happens to have a history of doing sucker shit. We can't get out. There's no getting away from that. There's no getting away from that. So I don't see nothing wrong with what it is that he's doing, man. I honestly don't. I honestly don't. I don't think he's coming off diva-ish. He doesn't strike now. Of course, the thing is, before cats become divas, they were once hungry. They once craved the attention of the spotlight, the persons that they end up getting when they get in that spotlight. So everybody comes off hungry, like, yo, I like his energy. It's just a matter of keeping that same energy once you get into a level of privilege. And a lot of cats do this shit. And Issac Cruz could very, very much so be a dude who switches up. Right, you know, the glitz and glamour is getting to him. He's dressing different. His, you know, the cars is different. He's out and about. He icy, you know, he iced down. He, you know, rollies and rings and chains and all that, earrings. He got fronts in his mouth. He got all that shit. Yo, that happens, man, when motherfuckers get to a point of prestige. They switch up. They switch up. They most definitely do that. They most definitely do that. So he could possibly turn into that. But in the now, he's not looking like a dude that's going to be plagued by that. He's looking like a motherfucker who just want to get in there and mix some shit up. And I respect that. I respect his get down. His get down is not, oh, man, fuck all that IG shit, man. Give me this. Let's get in the ring and get to work. I respect that. I respect that. I respect the fact that he's calling Golden Boy out on their bullshit. No, if he does not fight, because I don't get paid if he doesn't, if me and him don't run that. And it's a big opportunity. It's a big chance that I might not get paid because me and him more than likely won't run that because of his track record. So just let me, you know, let me get some sort of insurance. I see nothing wrong with that. I think that's very much so logical. Get that man what he's asking for. Put that in the contract. Y'all have to, you know, one thing with these promoters, Oscar, you were so real on keeping Ryan. You were so potent on keeping it real as it pertains to Ryan Garcia when it was time for it. I don't think he's ready for Teofimo Lopez. Why can't you keep it real on the fact that I can acknowledge that you have a point with him pulling out of fights. All right, we can put that in the contract. Why can't you do that? So no, I don't see anything wrong with what Issac Cruz said. I see nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And if they were, you know, if they was real about it, they would, all right, cool, they'd accommodate him for that. y'all this deep into the negotiations, why, you know, why leave out that D? All right, cool, you can have that. Because who else is there available for you to fight at in the now? You're not finna. Devin Haney is looking to lock horns with motherfucking George Kambosos as he should. You damn sure ain't finna go holler at Lomachenko. That's not gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. That is, you like that shit would that'd be a homicide if you climbed in there with Lomachenko. Who you gonna mix with? I mean, you and Nakatani would be dope. I think you and Nakatani would be real dope. Who? Not Gervonta Davis. Who? I don't even like the fact that you're only fighting Isaac Cruz to show, oh man, Gervonta Davis. You're trying to use Isaac Cruz to build up a fight with you and Tank Davis, which is normally cool, but why is Tank the fucking goal right now when you have two other champions in your division, one who you were mandatory for? Why are you so hell-bent on fighting Tank? If I'm not mistaken, Devin Haney gets more than Tank, and you and Devin Haney together is gonna do big numbers. So why not go and holler at Devin Haney? Because it makes sense on social media. That's the biggest thing I do not like about Ryan Garcia. It's the social media antics. That shit is corny to me. That shit is lame. I'll never be a fan of that shit, man. Ever. Come on, man. Like, let's get the moving different, man. However, I do think I think he knocked out Isaac Cruz. I think he knocks out Isaac Cruz. That dude, he's used to fighting nothing but shorter fighters, man. He's gonna time that left hook picture. And I think you may be shorter than the shorter fighters that he's fought. I think he's gonna knock out Isaac Cruz. That's cool, you dig? Like, all right, whatever. You know, it ain't the end of the world for Isaac Cruz. If he gets knocked out early in his career, it is what it is. I just don't want to, you know, I don't like the fact that you're only fighting him to somewhat stick it to Tank. That shit is corny to me, man. But nonetheless, y'all here, y'all this far into the, you know, the negotiations and all that. Get that man what he wants, because I don't see nothing wrong with what he's asking for. I don't see shit wrong with what he's asking for. That man just wants to know that, if we don't fight, I still somewhat get compensated. Niggas still got families to provide for, man. He's not no pretty boy. You know, he get drag amounts of followers on IG, so he's in some, you know, he's in a position to motherfucking be compensated for that. I don't know how this social media shit works like that, man. But I do know he's not him. If you get to a certain amount of followers on social media to the point where you can be compensated, he's not him. He's not the dude that's gonna be that dude, and that's cool. So he needs it. You know, this is his bread and butter right here, getting in that ring. He don't got modeling opportunities and all that shit. That's not his get down. It's not him. So get in there and let that man, and run that shit with that man. Run that shit, man. Stop with all the extra shit. That shit is whack. That shit is whack. Let's make that shit happen, man. We too deep into the negotiations for it to, you know, for the fight to fall flat on his face. He's right. You have a track record of backing out of fights. Compensate him for that if he does do that. Deuces.